Hello, my name is Rob Wilson from robwilson.co. I'd like to tell you today a little bit about the stranger to customer bridge. It's a concept that just shows you how you get people from being stranger to being a customer and how you need to have a complete system in place to take people across that river. One way that you see this not working for people is, they often find out about something, say like social media, that's really worked well for somebody. They then try it themselves and it falls flat on their face. Now this may be for a lot of reasons, but one of the most common ones is that the person who told you all about this actually had a complete system in place from going from stranger to customer, and the social media part was just one small part of something a lot bigger. And if you just apply the social media without the rest of the system in place, it's a bit like building the beginnings of a bridge, putting a nice big welcome sign up, polishing everything up at the beginning, and people then have to walk up the bridge, fall in the water, and then they have a choice whether they swim over to being a customer or whether they climb out the other side because you've made it hard for them. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take you through some of the steps from a client's perspective in terms of what they're expecting, and from a process point of view as to what you need to do to move people on. So to begin with, you've also got somebody who's a stranger. So the first thing you need is to have some kind of association with that person. You have to be in the same place as somebody that's a stranger to help move them on. It may well be that it's being in the sense of your website introduces you to somebody, or it could be something like networking, where you meet somebody for the first time. Equally well, it could be something like Twitter, where you follow somebody and then you start to engage in a bit of a conversation. So having connected with somebody in some way, you need to then get their attention. In a networking situation, this may be how you answer the question of "and what do you do?" And at that point, hopefully you've done that little pitch well enough to somebody to either not be qualified because they're not your potential customer, or to have an interest in what it is that you actually do. So where you need to go from there is people then need more information. That might be in terms of you talking to them for a little bit. It might be that you have an article that explains the core aspects of what it is that you do. It may be that you have to have several articles and several bits of information to give to people, because people work at different paces and different speeds. So some people may take a long time compared with other people to actually come to a decision that they are they actually are ready to explore working with you, which is the next thing you're after, really. To move people on, you may need to give them an experience of you. So this might be part of a free training video that you offer that's downloadable from the web, that you only offer to selected people. It might be that you spend a half an hour with somebody showing them how you actually work, and maybe working on part of the problems that they're having that you can fix. This isn't always necessary, but it quite often is. And what you're heading towards is what I would call a transitional meeting. A transition meeting where you're actually moving from somebody who is ready to explore working with you to hopefully somebody who's actually sold on the idea of what it is that you actually do. That meeting itself, you're going to go through a series of steps. You're going to present what it is that you actually offer. Hopefully, if your marketing is good enough, you'll close a sale. I'm not talking here about doing fancy sales tricks on people. If you've done the other stages correctly and at the right pace for the individual that you're working with, or the company that you're working with, they actually are already sold on your idea. So you shouldn't need to sell them. You should only need to actually just get agreement that you've actually got a customer. The final step is actually to get some kind of sign off or some payment so that you actually really do have a customer. And quite often people lose track and actually lose customers at this point, because they don't completely get a payment, they don't completely get buy-in from somebody, and something happens, time passes and they haven't really got a customer that they thought they had. So as you can see, it's a step-by-step kind of process of gradually increasing your relationship with people and moving people on in terms of that sales process. One thing that's worth noting is that on the stranger to customer journey video that I did, it mentions keep in touch marketing, and that sits very much around the information stage over here, to keep people interested and keep people aware of you, that need to take more time to actually get to a buying decision. If you actually look at this, what actually is going on here, you have two halves. You have a marketing half on the way up, and you have a sales half on the way down. If you've done your marketing half correctly, the sales side of things should be a lot more easygoing than it would be if you don't pay enough attention to the marketing side of things. All the marketing strategies that we work on are about getting people to some form of transitional meeting, some kind of consultative sales session, where you look a little bit more about the customer's problems and how they may be sorted out, and then you move on to show how your product or service would actually help that person solve their problems. So that's very much that switch from marketing to sales. And all the marketing action plans that we create are based around building association, getting attention, giving the right information and an experience of you as a company or as an individual, then getting people towards that transitional meeting. We also obviously teach how to do the transitional meeting and how that's organised, and to gain the most amount of benefit for both you and your potential clients. Now, what you've also got to be aware of is that the transitional meeting, probably from the experience round to the transitional meeting, are quite often exactly the same steps for any marketing action plan that you need to create. But obviously the bits that get people to the point of either experience or the transitional meeting, they may well be different depending on the route that you're getting to those clients. So for example, it may well be that you have a networking strategy, networking marketing action plan, where you have to obviously work out what you say when people say what you do, when they ask for more information, what you do, after the meeting, what your next steps after that. As you work out that you've got somebody who's really interested in what you're doing, what other information do you need to give them? How are you going to give them an experience of what it is that you do? And then ultimately, how are you going to get somebody to that transition meeting? The actual meeting itself has a particular structure that we would normally use, but you can possibly do things your own way. And the bits on the right hand side are normally fairly mechanical in terms of closing and signing off. So I hope that's given you an idea of how you can go from stranger to customer, and why you need a bridge that you can then add more and more to, and add more and more different methods of getting association, attention, information, and possibly experience. But you need a complete system in place before you can actually start adding more things on the left hand side. If you haven't already watched the stranger to customer journey video, I recommend you have a little look at that. Otherwise, head over to www.robwilson.co, where you can find out a lot more about our products and services, and see whether we've got your attention, whether you need more information from us, and experience a little bit about what we do. Thank you very much.